Dobro jutro. I would like to thank first all the organizers of the Sarajevo Innovation Summit 2020 for inviting me and all of you joining us online for these discussions. I was asked to address you today with a short talk about how technology and the new challenges brought to us by the current disruptions of the COVID-19 pandemic are affecting deeply the art, design, and creative industries. And I would like to challenge you today to look at those problems differently and creatively, since they could also represent a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to challenge and reshape the way we create and the way we do business. I was also told by the organizers to be inspirational, so I hope I will meet that challenge. I would like to start by telling you about something that happened to me just last year here in Sarajevo. I was invited by the Academy of Fine Arts to deliver a lecture to their students about the art world and the art market. The idea was that somebody like me, somebody who's not an artist, but rather an art world professional, somebody that has no talents but has been working in the commercial side of the art world for many years, could prepare or at least inform a young generation of creative minds ready to leave the comfort of the academy and hit the real world out there. How can they become a professional artist, designer, product designer, you name it? How should they turn their passions and talents into a real job? So I talked to the students about how the art world is structured. I told them about all the professional figures that populate it: dealers, galleries, curators, art advisors, auction houses, critics, and journalists. I talked to them about how to relate to all those figures that would be essential for any creative professional to approach and to work with if they want their ideas and their products to find a path outside of their studios and into the world, both commercial and institutional. I talked to them about how to approach a gallery in a professional manner, how to productively work with a gallerist or a curator to put together a show, to build a sustainable market for their work, how to build a reputation based on strong and professional relationship with all those figures who will be essential in order to open the doors of the art market, all those important doors of private, corporate, and public collections, open doors that will be vital to survive financially as an artist. And I told them how important it is to collaborate with other professional figures to achieve that, and how to intelligently market and communicate who you are and what you do in that process. I also told them about the not so new tools of online platforms, like the obvious websites, virtual gallery spaces, auctions, and selling platforms that already exist out there and that have been slowly taking the traditionally very old-fashioned art world into the 21st century. Finally, recognizing the need to reach out to a broader audience and a wider public and customer base and demographic. I have to recognize that the challenge of joining the 21st century has been particularly complex for the art world, which was probably one of the last industries to fully embrace new technology. Traditionally, the art world was dominated by a small group of people and by a very much in-person based relationship, which made it very strong and powerful indeed, but at the same time, very insular. The last 10 years, and especially the last 8 months, have presented the opportunity and the urgent need to disrupt and update that model, and not everybody has been able to quickly adjust and prosper. So now back to that day at the Academy. At the end of my lecture, it was question time. I usually look forward to this part since it's at this time that I can really make sure I'm really contributing something to the needs of my audience. And by the way, I encourage all of you to contact me on my Instagram or LinkedIn to share with me any thoughts or questions you might have and would like to raise with me today. So question time. And one of the professors sitting in the back of the room stood up to speak. An artist himself, in his mid-40s, I presume, he went on a rant about how I basically just wasted 2 hours of the students' time. Didn't I know that there are no galleries in Sarajevo? Didn't I know that there is no contemporary art market in Bosnia and Herzegovina? Basically, all I told the students was apparently useless, since according to him, the career of an artist in this country is doomed from the start. Apparently, since none of those figures I talked about are to be found in the streets of Sarajevo, I just presented those students with a totally idealistic model and unachievable goals. I was floored. My intention was to inspire the students and to inform them and get them ready to build their future career in the art world. And according to him, I had just achieved the opposite. I made them think that all that world was actually not available to them. But then something amazing happened. A student from the first row raised her hand to ask me a question. A young girl, a covered Muslim girl. She was a painter in her last years of studies. She looked at me completely unfazed by the apocalyptic scenario that was just pictured by her professor and asked me instead how to price her work in a professional and sustainable manner. You see, she needed to know how to build a price structure because she had just sold 2 of her paintings on the online platform sachiart.com and needed to be ready for more sales. Sachiart.com was founded by one of the most famous and prolific art collectors of the last 20-30 years. Charles Saatchi was one that single-handedly propelled the career of some of the most famous British contemporary artists that today we know as YBA, Young British Artist. He built an incredible collection, put together exhibitions, built galleries, and in doing so was able to make or break a lot of artists' commercial markets. His online platform, sachiart.com, provides today one of the most successful sites where young artists and collectors from around the world can come into contact and connect. The curated pages of the sites create an opportunity for artists to showcase their work and for collectors to buy art outside of their respective geographical restrictions or cultural and social boundaries. So a collector from China can buy a work by a young artist from Bosnia and Herzegovina using a site based in the United Kingdom, without having ever to come into contact with each other, without having to rely on a gallery near them to organize a show, and without having to wait until a journalist decides to review it in a publication they actually read. Sachiart.com provides not only that useful connection, but also the necessary professional platform and structure to assure the quality of the work, the professionality of all transactions, and the accuracy and reliability of all the details, from presentation to logistic, payment to shipping and delivery. They have curators who curate the online galleries, art advisors who advise potential buyers, and logistical support to follow up, creating that essential sense of security and freedom of mind that traditionally a gallery or dealer would have done in order to facilitate a sale. Well, what became clear to me at that point was that in front of me, there were 2 different attitudes, and somehow those 2 attitudes might also represent 2 different generations. On one side, I had the bitter and defeated approach of an artist who suffered from the limitations of his generation, but who was also too negative and pessimistic, and maybe even too lazy, to look beyond his own horizon and find the courage to try uncharted territories, challenge himself with the new technology and the new skills that are essential today to take your message, your work, your product, and yourself to a new global audience. On the other side, I had the pragmatic, resilient, and positive approach of a young artist who, instead of looking at her own geographical and cultural obstacles, was already miles ahead of the pack and was not interested in dwelling in the past, and actually not even the present for that matter, but was focused solely on her future. Well, that was inspirational. And all of that was even before the pandemic hit us. That positive and productive approach is in fact even more essential today. We have already suffered huge setbacks and faced completely new challenge in the last 8 months, and we have surely many more to come. My advice to all creative professionals today is to think and act like the young artist from the academy and not like the disillusioned professor. You see, in all our history, creative people are the ones who help societies navigate through difficult times. Artists, architects, and designers are the ones able to recognize and codify the challenges we face, to inspire new achievement, and to address problems and shortcomings of each generation and preserve them for posterity. Creative minds help us understand our present problems and can build a visual and also a physical path towards solving them. We as a society need the contribution of the entire creative industry to find solutions and to inspire, educate, and why not, also to make us feel better. But as I was telling those students, you cannot do it alone. Your ideas, your art, your designs cannot achieve that if you do not find a way to give them wings and let them fly out of your studios. Today, what is absolutely fundamental is that you build not just a great product, but also find a great platform for it to be seen, appreciated, marketed, and eventually sold. The challenges for you today are not that there is no gallery on Titova to promote your work, but rather that you have to find the right partners that can assist you to do it yourself. And there are options for you out there. You just need to look for them and understand them well in order to best put them at your service. For me today, the three most important things for success are product, reputation, and partner. Of course, you have to have a good product, something that people want and or need. Something that an audience and a customer will be attracted to because it speaks to them on some level. So make sure you develop that product to its full potentials before it hits the market. Today, you are joining a much larger market, a global online market, and your product will have to compete on a much larger stage. Attention to detail, sound production, construction, and materials. These are as important as the visual impact of your product. Too often, quality is overlooked, and today there are no second chances if you disappoint a customer. Reputation. Your product and your business structure are your reputation. Your reputation as a reliable maker, a reliable seller, or as a committed artist is essential to inspire a sense of comfort in the customer and collector. Remember, these days, you cannot be the face of your product and sell it in person in a gallery or a store or at a market. Your product, your brand, and your organization will speak for you, and to grow your customer base, your product has to be reliable and convincing, not just on trend and attractive. Remember, beauty fades and dumb is forever. And finally, and most importantly, today, find your partner. You cannot do it alone. The internet is a space way too big for every individual artist, maker, producer to go at it alone. To build your own website, your own e-commerce, and keep them updated, functional, and reliable will be totally unachievable for a small creative brand or a single designer or artist. So find a platform that best represents you and your product, and can also best assist you overcome all the hurdles of turning your creative ideas and products into a reliable business. In order to reach your online audience, your product needs to be photographed, described, and presented not only in the best light possible, but also in the best company possible. Professionality and quality by association can be very useful. If you place your brand and your product in the right company with other brands, you will benefit from that collective good reputation. Your product has to be marketed and promoted properly and to the right targeted audience. So find a website, an online e-commerce site that can do that for you. But don't forget, the success of your product is based on how well you collaborate with that site and how you utilize that platform at its best and to all your advantages. Posting something on a website and waiting for something to automatically happen is not enough. You have to provide the information, the image, the price, and the responsiveness to customer care to ensure a productive relationship with that platform and ultimately a stress-free experience for the customer. And remember that it is a mutual partnership. Those platforms need you as much as you need them. You need them to facilitate more sales and to take your brand on a wider journey. But they also need you and your product to attract more customers and sales for themselves, including advertising. It is a mutual investment of time and resources, and today it is the most important investment you should make. So remember, product, reputation, and partner. Think about these three objectives during the next panel discussion happening just after me, which will include the founder of one of those e-commerce platforms I just talked about, Aurea Bazaar. Aurea is the first platform to assist small and medium-sized creative professionals in Bosnia and Herzegovina. See if it could be the right partner for your product and how it could support your business and help build your own reputation. To paraphrase a famous quote by President Kennedy, ask not only what they can do for you, but also ask what you can do with them. Valas Viva and good luck.